Let's get everybody in the room. Oh, so lovely to see you all. Look who's here. Jill is here. Hi, Jill. Thanks for being there. Jill, do you mind if I make you co-host? Um, because I can't turn off the waiting room. I've got to let people in one by one. If you're here for the hour, would you mind doing that for me, love? Thank you ever so much. Lovely to see you, Erica. Drew, hi, Drew. Sue is here. Lindsay, hi, darling. Amanda, Penny. And then we've got a few off camera. Jude is there. Rosalba can't hear me yet, connecting to audio. Kiri is here. Liz is here, and we're still expecting a few others as well. So a warm welcome to you all. Now, let's talk about logistics first. First things first, who's got their water with them? Show us your water. Yeah, well done, everybody. This gets better every time I do this masterclass. Well done. We're learning, aren't we? If you haven't got some water with you or something nice to drink, do feel free to take a moment and go and refill while I witter on about logistics. Let's take a sip. It can be so easy to forget, can't it? But we're going to be talking about water as being one of the strategies that we need for the reasons why we're here. So let us talk about other logistics. Who's got their workbook? So whether you've got it digitally or whether you printed it out, if you haven't, please don't worry. You don't really need it for today. You can just use notepad and pen. But it's a lovely workbook that I wanted you to be able to take away with you for reflection, not just in this hour. Certainly use it to scribble notes during this hour, but it's a lovely workbook for your reflection after this, about tuning into your big why. Why is your health and vitality important to you, and what difference would that make to you? Just an opportunity to reflect and what's holding you back. And there's a little exercise on there on emotional eating, which we're going to come to on this masterclass. And then there's some next steps for you on the next page. There's a couple of freebies on there for you. So that's the workbook. What else did I want to say? We are recording this for replay. So is everybody happy that we're recording this to share on replay? And if I spotlight myself, I'm going to just spotlight me, which might change your view, but that's going to help the recording make sure it captures me rather than everybody else who speaks. So please don't worry about being seen, but we will capture your voice. So if anybody feels uncomfortable about being on that recording, please just speak to me and we can sort it out. Okay, we can sort that out. Alison, I see you there. Welcome. Who else has joined us? Right, let's get started. So that's logistics. Recording, tick. Please do feel free to jump in and participate. Okay, it's a smallish group. Yeah, we're going to be using the chat. Erica, thank you for that question. I'm aiming for this to be 1 hour. I'm going to try and get everything that I need to say in 1 hour, but I'm going to stay on for all the questions. Okay, so I don't think we got time for all the questions in that 1 hour, but if you can join me till 2, and then I'll answer questions after that. That's that. So the chat is there. Feel free to use it, engage, answer the questions that come up, but also do please feel free to jump on the microphone, as it's only a small group. There's only 13 of us in the room. I know that so many of you, so many people watching on replay, well done for signing up anyway. We've got 27 sign-ups, and I know a lot of you wanted to particularly catch up later this evening after work. So that's absolutely fine. And everything that I say on this live also applies to you watching it on replay as well. So the chat is there for you to use, my darlings. Feel free to jump in. I'd love to have lots of engagement in this. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to be going to the room to ask questions, and I'd love to hear from you as well. But let me just start by sharing my screen, because I've got a lot of slides to crack on with. So we have got the Canva window. Let's see if I can. Right, can you see my slides, everybody? Yeah, great. And can you see me And the slides. Yeah, amazing, great. And do if anybody's confident, if please do jump on the microphone so that I'm not just talking to myself. Just jump in, just have a chat with me. Right, Drew, let's let Drew in. Drew is there. She must have left and come back again. So those slides nice and clear because the window is really, really tiny for me. Yeah, great. Okay, lovely. So I think I know most of you in this room, but if we are new to each other, maybe we've never met before, just by way of introduction, this is me. Oh, my hair looks more red in that one. I think I did that to match the motorbike. I'm kind of known for my pink hair, and it's a beautiful day out there today. Actually, the sun is shining, but I've just had to put the blinds down because it's actually really, really vibrant out there. How gorgeous. What's it like where you are? What's it like where you are? What was yesterday like? Oh my goodness, yesterday was horrendous. Stormy and anyway. Raining in Christchurch. Oh, we've got better weather than you. So I'm here in Cardiff. So maybe it's coming your way. I'm here in Cardiff. You may be able to detect a little bit of Welsh accent. I am 53 years old, mum to two teens, Sean and Ruby. Sean is doing all my tech. So Sean is the one that's been responsible for sending you the WhatsApps and that signing up form and all that. So it's such a blessing. He's doing a gap year and he's taken over all my tech for me. So thank the Lord for that. Sean is just turning 19 next month. Ruby is 17 and I'm currently teaching her to drive. So that's a lot of fun. And some of my top values. Who was at Be Vital this weekend? Where are my Be Vital chums? Hello, darlings. Wasn't it amazing? For those of you who don't know what that is, some of us who are involved with One of Many, Joanna Martin's amazing foundation, we've been to a weekend called Be Vital, where we're focusing intently on our own self-care, our own vitality, our own health and well-being. And it's just been another one of those amazing transformative weekends. And then, of course, you come back to the real world on a Monday and it's full on, straight back into real life. But, just to carry through some of those themes from the weekend, if you were there, and if you weren't, on today's masterclass, we're going to cover so much that was, reflected in that weekend. So much alignment there. It's absolutely beautiful. So I haven't always been a health transformation coach. Oh, it doesn't say on there. The way I like to refer to myself at the moment is a health transformation and food relationship coach, because as you'll see in my backstory, I went through my own health transformation when I relearned how humans are meant to be eating, and it changed everything for me. Symptom relief, energy, some weight release, which I thought was the most important thing, and I now know wasn't. The most important thing was actually how I was feeling in my body. So health transformation through food, and through food, fundamental to the way we eat is our relationship with food, our food mindset. But I haven't always been that. It really does go back to 2020 when I transformed my health, when I found a program that just made so much sense, which I'm going to show you today. Before that, I was a medical physicist, was my first career. I then spent 20 years working in Cardiff University in IT. So, I'm quite a techie. But it's always been the people side of IT, what IT can do to help bring our gifts to the world. And so I'm still playing with that now that I've got my son on board. It's great. So I've gone on to become a master coach in the program that I coach. I'm one of 10 worldwide and the only master coach in the UK. So I feel very honoured to have been awarded that. Thank you very much, Penny. Feel very honoured to have been awarded that by our founder last January. And since I started coaching 4 years ago, almost to the day, I've guided, it's something like 220 people through this program. And it feels amazing every single time I get somebody with a breakthrough or a health transformation. This is a bit about my backstory, my darlings. I've always been fun-loving, high-achieving, wanting to change the world my whole life. Yeah. busy in work, busy at home. This is me leading a choir of 800 people in Cardiff a few years ago. I wasn't conducting, but I was the project manager. There's always been so much going on. And then I became a mum, and that meant, baking cakes at every birthday party, loads of celebrating in my work life, big social life, lots of wine, lots of late night eating. I used to run a curry club. I used to run the Newport and Cardiff Curry Club, yeah, and we used to get discounts and and brilliant fun. But the problem was I knew nothing about the impact that was having on my body. And what the result of that was on me, that I just thought was normal, right? I just thought it was normal, was massive afternoon slump. Anybody get that? Where you just, yeah, Lynn's, you just want to put your head on the desk. Oh, can you just leave me alone while I have a little nap? But you can't, can you? You can't do that in the office. I mean, we can when we're at home. Hopefully some of us can sneak a little nap when we need it. But I realise now that the afternoon slump is unnecessary, and I thought it was normal. I thought it was as a result of me not getting a good night's sleep, my own fault, staying up too late. It's food, my darlings, it's food. Promise you, can prove it, right? So afternoon slump, cravings for sugars, cravings for sweet things. I would be roaming the office, opening all the cupboards in the kitchen. Has anybody got biscuits? Literal craving for sweet things, craving for savory things, crisps, that kind of thing. Brain fog, anybody? Like that's, it's related to perimenopause, but not necessarily. I think, most of us are in a certain demographic where when we get to that age where we're starting to experience hormonal changes, brain fog is a big one, but absolutely related to food, okay? Related to our blood sugars. Stiff, achy joints, anybody? So, yeah, I see you there, Sue, Erica. For me, I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought that I was getting early onset arthritis. I was in my 30s, for goodness sake. And I'm standing there singing in choir, going, oh, I'm so stiff when I stand. Oh, it just took 10 minutes of standing, and I'd be stiff, and I'd be having to do this all the time. Oh, do the floppy dangle and stretch my back and squat to try and stretch my hips. And I was thinking, is this normal? And I would ask everybody, do you know what this is? Why am I so stiff? And I would ask the doctor, the chiropractor, the massage therapist, everybody standing next to me in choir. Nobody, for 15 years, nobody said it's food. Nobody knew what it was. And one massage therapist who I love dearly, and he said to me, you're probably just, because you're a very flexible person, you will get a bit stiff. So I thought, oh, well, it's just because I'm a flexible person that I need that constant, stretching. I thought I had to live with it. My darlings, it's gone. I'm skipping ahead, but it's gone, right? It's food. Tiredness. I'm going to get serious now, because the tiredness wasn't just at work's expense. It was at my kids' expense. Because when it came to bedtime and I wanted to be able to read to them, I physically couldn't do it, because I'd start reading and I'd just go, ugh, nodding off. I just couldn't do it. And I'd have to close the book and I'd say, I'm sorry, my darling, I'm going to have to send your dad up to read to you while I go and close my eyes for a bit. It felt awful. So we switched the bedtime routine, and he did all the bedtimes, he did all the reading. And now with their stepdad, who stepped into our lives when they were quite little as well, it's always been the stepdad's job, And I feel sad now that books and reading has not been a way that I've bonded with my kids. So there feels like there's a distance there. All not because it was my fault for staying up late. It wasn't that. Not because I'd had a glass of wine, but because the food was making me tired. My blood sugar, erratic blood sugars, was making me so tired. Because I'd be awake then, 10, 11 o'clock, fine. Do you know, it was just the early part of the evening that was unbearable. Low blood sugar, food. We'll come to that on another slide. Ruthless weight gain. Now, I know not everybody is here to talk about weight. I know I've called it why diets don't work. That's a marketing thing. Forget that, right? Diets don't work, and I'm going to tell you why. But this is not about weight. But for me, one of the side effects was my weight gain. And actually, because I'd been on diets for decades, failing, That's what took me to search for the right answer, and thank God I did finally find it. But the weight piled on, and my history was, yeah, feeling like, well, that's not me in the mirror. It doesn't feel like me in the mirror. It's not like I was trying to be some fashionable skinny. It's not that. It was, I wanted to be the me that I could be, the me that I knew I was inside. And I felt like I was wearing this heavy, I don't want to say fat suit, but you know what I mean? I felt like I was wearing this heavy layer that I just wanted rid of, and I would do anything, but I couldn't figure out how. I couldn't figure out how. And I just ended up feeling like a failure. And this went on for 30 years, feeling like a failure. You know, it's just bloody ridiculous. Slimming World, anybody tried Slimming World? Did it work for anybody in the room? Okay, yeah, maybe here and there. I know some people who love it and live their lives on it, okay? If you live your life on it and you thrive on it and you've got a friendship group, it can work. But the problem I found was that it was it was too restrictive. I didn't like the food because the food was low fat, very, very low fat, taste free. And then they would be encouraging you to eat a lot of shit, like powdered food or pasta. It'd be like, oh, pasta's free. I don't know if it's still the same. Pasta's completely free. Mug shots, they used to be free back in the 90s. They were then 1 cent, I think, or half a cent or something. And I'm there in the office making my mug shot, desperately trying to lose weight for Christmas. And I'm stirring this powder and I'm thinking, this cannot be right. This cannot be right. Okay, whole fruit was free as well, and I could have had that. But do you know what I'm saying, right? And the other problem that I found with it was that it was completely based upon your success each week. How much weight have you lost this week? You'd have to weigh in, and if you'd lost a pound or two, hooray, you were celebrated. Little clap all round. And if you hadn't, oh, and you'd feel guilty. What have you been doing? Oh, well, I had the audacity to go out for a meal with my husband. Naughty me. You know, and I couldn't stand it any longer. It didn't give me enough freedom. And this was at a time in my life when I was maximum socializing. This is before I had kids. And it wasn't compatible with a busy social life and a nice romantic life too. It wasn't compatible. Felt like a failure. Had to give it up. Finally gave up swimming when I was 40. I think I did it for 15 years. You know, the 5-2, dear bless Mosley, love him dearly, may he rest in peace. Starting to be a little bit more sensible with us, helping us manage our blood sugars, helping us eat lots of natural whole foods. So I thought, well, this sounds better. So I tried the 5-2. Couldn't do it, my darlings, because it was like the 5-2, I think they tweaked it a bit, but it was so restrictive on those 2 days. I couldn't cope. I was so distracted. It just couldn't function. I didn't know how to go without food or to keep it really, really low calorie for those 2 days. Couldn't do it. Sorry, Mosley. Something needed tweaking on that. And if he'd been living now, I was going to approach him and say, look, can we put our heads together? Because I think between us, we've got something that can change the world. Cambridge diet, powder, Slim Fast powder. Anybody? Yeah, Slim Fast powder. Can't be right, can it? Can't be right. I was desperately hungry. They say it's got all the nutrients you need. Yeah, in writing is what it says. But is the body really able to take up all those nutrients when they're in the form of an artificially created powder rather than whole foods? We now know that you need real whole foods in order to be able to absorb all the nutrients, and it no matter what they said, it didn't keep you full at all. I found that really hard, and it cost an awful lot of money, and it just made me rebound. It's like, right, I've got to have something to eat now. And at the weekend, I would just blow it completely and I'd be back to square one or worse off than I was. Atkins, anybody? Conventional keto, high fat, lots of artificial sweeteners on the keto, lots of things made out of cream and, you know, it sounds amazing. You can have these lovely indulgent things and you're still going to lose weight. It's a hack. It's a hack on nature. It's not sustainable and it's certainly not healthy. There is a form of low carb eating that is healthy and natural, which we will talk about. So it's not that I'm knocking low carb, but conventional keto, the way most people do it, is really not healthy or sustainable. Who's ever tried losing weight through exercise? intensive exercise. I tried that. I was going off to do the Inca Trail, really wanted to lose some weight to do the Inca Trail, started exercising intensively 3 times a week. I think it was good for me, definitely built my fitness, brilliant. Did I lose any weight? No, I gained weight. I gained weight because the scale weight was important to me, and of course my muscle was increasing, which is a good thing. But I felt like a failure because my weight was going up, not down. But it's not easy. In fact, I think what Chris Van Tulloken is saying, if anybody big fan of Chris Van Tulloken, ultra processed people, yeah, big fan. What he was saying on the Christmas lectures is it's impossible to lose weight by exercise, and I'm starting to believe that too. Noom, anybody tried Noom? Tried that for a few months, starting to get a little bit better, but still no personal support. No, you know, you're just talking to an app. Where's the engagement? Where's the motivation? And it was like it felt quite laborious. The tracking. Constant tracking apps, you know, Zoe, I've done Zoe, a lot of respect for the scientists of Zoe, but it's not a health transformation program. It's a way of measuring what you're taking in. You know, I think Zoe has its good thing. There's good things about it, definitely. But I've yet to meet anybody who says it was a radical health transformation. There's no food mindset there. There's no, you know, we'll come to that. And intermittent fasting, yeah, great, but it's got some good, definitely got some benefits, but if you're not properly nourished, you're going to be malnourished. If you're not properly nourished to start with, because you've been on all these diets, and then you start intermittent fasting, you're going to be even less nourished. Yeah, makes sense. And that's what I was. Did that, lost some weight for my wedding nearly 6 years ago. Lost some weight, got into the next dress size, but I didn't really look well. I wasn't properly nourished. And I realize that now, but I didn't know that then, because back then it was all about weight loss, right? So I was left feeling like a failure. Everything left me feeling deprived. I had zero willpower, and I thought it was my fault. Following recipes was too laborious for a busy lifestyle. I learned how to cheat. You know, I learned how to cheat. Now, who was I cheating? You know, basically, to summarize this, not to mention, it ignored all the emotional reasons, all the emotional cravings, the emotional eating, the comfort eating. No diet that I've mentioned to you addressed any of that. So we'll come to a future slide on how and what's important for that. Let me just turn off these bings. Do not disturb. So, not to mention, it was miserable. When I was on a diet, I was so effing miserable. And it just couldn't be right. So I like to say, people don't fail diets. Diets fail people. And why is that? But for me, 2020, I discovered the program that I now coach, and I realized that the answer was there. But partly the food, the answer was in nature, not powder, and certainly not, the kind of diet foods. It made so much sense. I understood finally the reason why I'd been failing for so long. I felt so great in my body. And it was all about nature, okay? And weight loss wasn't the goal. It was a natural side effect of eating the right way. So this was me, complete transformation in 2020. Just took 90 days to get from the picture you saw before to these pictures now of me feeling like the real me again. Don't have any more cravings. We'll talk about cravings a little bit, but my cravings are now well managed. Not saying I never have them, but I understand them and I can manage them. No more afternoon slump, joint pain, stiffness gone. Any gut issues, I had acid reflux. I was taking medication for that. That's gone. My skin is so much lovelier now. I was treating all kinds of skin ailments with all kinds of lotions and potions, and I don't need any treatment for my skin now. Allergies. Now, this is a big one for me. This is probably more important than the weight release. My allergies were debilitating. Hay fever, cat allergies. We couldn't have a cat. I didn't have a cat for about 16 years. I had to get rid of my cats when I got pregnant, and couldn't have a cat because my allergies. We've got cats now. My allergies haven't gone, but they are like 90% better. It's amazing. I don't take antihistamines anymore, whereas I was taking them every single day of the year. Dust, allergy, you name it. So that's been, and I now know what foods and drinks will trigger those allergies back. Interesting. Yeah, 2 dress sizes, beautiful, love it, but like I say, the health became much more important. But now that those 2 dress sizes have gone, I'm a comfortable curvy size 14 now, which is what I always wanted to be. I got rid of my old big clothes, thanked them for their blessings and the way they've served me over the years, released those to the charity shops and bought myself a whole lovely new wardrobe that makes me feel feminine and alive. Energy. Oh, interesting. I don't need as much sleep as before. So whereas I was thinking it was my fault that I wasn't getting enough sleep, it was food's fault for requiring me to have more sleep. I don't need 8 hours anymore. 7 is perfectly fine. Body confidence, and finally ditch dieting forever. Oh my God, every time I say that, I think, can that really be true? It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years. So the 3 secrets that I'm going to whiz through, that if you do my health transformation program, or if you find another one, I've never found one, but the 3 secrets that make this work, that made it work for me, and that have made it work for all the clients that have come through this program. 3 secrets. Number 1, we've talked about the mindset. It's the positive behavior change psychology. It's understanding emotional eating. It's understanding willpower doesn't work and what does. Number 2, we've got to get properly nourished, and there are 6 different human hungers. The first one is thirst. Okay, so take a sip. I'm just looking at the comments, actually. Thank you for your engagement in the comments. Drew, Noom's too full of ideas. Nothing sinks in. No group support. Felt like a dog chasing off after a new idea every 5 seconds. Interesting. A lot of education, but no personal support. And Lynn's done so many different diets, ended up picking and choosing from them all until I was just eating rubbish. Do you know what? I completely resonate. All those same. I once had this idea. I know what I'll do is I'll take all the good bits of all the diets I've done and put them together, and I was going to write a book called A Diet a Day. That was going to be the way I was going to change the world. And while I was thinking about that was when I came across this program. Thank goodness I did, and never released that book. So there are 6 human hungers. One of them's thirst. We need to be properly nourished, otherwise we're going to be hungry the whole time. And that's a big thing that these programs miss. And the third thing that I've never seen anywhere else is optimizing the way we eat, aligned with nature, the way nature provided, the way humans evolved to thrive, right? Real natural whole foods, but looking at actually, is that always the same? Interesting. We're going to come to that. Okay, the 4 natural food seasons. So let's go to you, my darlings. And if you've got your workbook there, do you want to start making some notes? I would love to know, and please do share, how is your energy, your sleep, your health? Who here is suffering with anything on this list? Feel free to, that's fine, Alison, feel free to share in the chat. And if anybody would like to come on the microphone and share, that'd be lovely too. Lack of energy, any of the things I've mentioned. What about headaches, migraines? That's another key one as well. Yeah. My hubby completely overcame his migraines by going through this program with me, and then just a few more tweaks were required to work out exactly what was causing that. And I will tell you all that he had a migraine yesterday, and I said, oh, what have you been eating? He said, well, I had a Chinese takeaway. Interesting. He knows how to bring them back again. Joint stiffness, joint pain, poor sleep, hot flushes, gut disorders. Anybody IBS? You know, it can be a bit personal, so I'm not going to ask you to put your hands up if you've got constipation, but you know, that's the very common one. Would anybody like to share what's going on for them? Why, you know, what is it that brings you here? Oh, and I'm just letting Cheryl in the room, lovely Cheryl from Be Vital. Would anybody like to share what their biggest health concern is? And if not, it's absolutely fine, we'll just move on. Cheryl, where are you? Cheryl, it's lovely to see you, darling. Thanks for joining. We're just going through what our personal health challenges might be, and I've named a few that we now know are related to food. Now, I'm not saying that food is the only cause. Of course, we have to take care of everything, you know, our lifestyle and our stress and our intentional movement, and sometimes we need to visit the doctor, and sometimes we need, you know, medication. But what I'm saying is that I now know that food is a trigger for all these conditions and many, many more. So yeah, Erica, weight gain, unrestful sleep, lack of energy and pains. Yeah, I feel for you, darling. Oh, okay, Jill. Yeah, no problem. I can click that button. That's absolutely fine, love. So just maybe pop down in your notes what it is for you. Let's focus on that. And what is the impact of that? What is the impact of those ailments on your work, on your life, on your family life, your personal life? Does it impact on your joy? Does it impact on you living life to the full? Yeah, I feel for you, my darlings, and don't worry, because I'm going to include some of the solution as well. So this was me waiting till something improves. I was just waiting, like, oh, when that feels better, then I'll start paddle boarding. When I lose some weight, then I'll start socializing more. You know, there's always this waiting for things to improve, wanting more out of life. All this time, I wanted to live to be 120 because I had the attitude for that. It's now a goal. It's now a serious goal for me. I had the attitude of somebody that was going to live to 120, but I didn't have the health, the diet, or the intentional movement of somebody that was going to live to be 120, right? And I know some of you are laughing because you think it's crazy. Speak to Francis Rossu, right? Francis is a genomics expert and private GP. And I said, Francis, am I crazy? And she said, no, you're not. It's doable. Let's go for it, right? Let's go for it. So have a think about this. If you could become the healthiest, most vibrant version of you and overcome those challenges that have been niggles or pains for such a long time, how would you feel? What would that do for you? What difference would it make to, I think this is from a slide where I was speaking to business people, but what difference would it make to your personal life? What difference would it make to your work life? And who else would benefit from you feeling so much better in your body, so much more confident, so much more confident in your future health? Because when you make these changes that I'm talking about and you feel better with every change you make, you don't need to believe anything anymore because your body is telling you that you've just moved from A to B and to better health because it's telling you in your body. So you don't need to believe what do we need to eat for lasting health, to prevent chronic disease. You know it because you feel it. Does that make sense? So when you feel it, I feel so much better than I did when I made this one food change, boom, that's a clue about how to prevent those scary chronic ailments in the future. And you can do the scientific research. You saw on the slide, I was a scientist. Do the research, don't take my word for it. Look up how to prevent XYZ scary disease, right? Food, movement, attitude, okay? So willpower doesn't work. So we're going to stop thinking about anything that requires reliance on willpower, because as Joe was saying, for those who were on Be Vital, and she could have had my slide, it gets fatigued. There's only so much willpower, and the more stressed we are, the less capable we are of tapping into that willpower. Yes, willpower can be useful. I'm just going to do this. Of course we need it, but it's short term. We cannot rely on it to get us through stressful times. Okay, and we all have stressful times and challenges in our lives. It doesn't address the root cause of the problem. When we restrict, we rebel. Anybody? Any rebels? Yes, empowered women, right? I'm a rebel. Nobody's going to tell me how to eat. But when I learn how to eat in a way that serves me, I go, yeah, I'm getting behind this. Not because I've been told to do it, but because I know it in my body. When I feel deprived, it backfires. If I feel deprived, I'm damn well going to treat myself to some indulgent food. It backfires. We cannot achieve lasting transformation if we're feeling deprived. And we cannot ignore those feelings of those emotional reasons for eating. We can't ignore hormones. right? We can't ignore compulsions. We can't ignore stress. And under stress, our brain defaults to the habits, the ingrained habits, right? So we're going to rewire those habits, recreate new neural pathways, habits, right? Forget willpower. What we want is want power. Yay! Want power and mindset change. Right. So secret number one is the psychology, the mindset, right? Psychology. So here's the way I coach, and here's the way that my program is built, so that we're focusing on self-care and compassion. First, we can't do anything until we do that. We know this, right? Be vital, ladies. We need to release guilt and judgment and disappointment in ourselves and self-criticism and guilt. Release it, because it doesn't support us. It just keeps us stuck in this internal chatter and self-abuse. So I need to help you learn how to let those judgy, guilty feelings go and replace it with objective analysis and wisdom, ultimate wisdom. We need to implement one step at a time, not try and do the whole thing. One step at a time. And when you do one step at a time in the right order, so that that one step makes you feel better, that's when it becomes really doable, because you're like, oh, I changed one thing. It felt better. I'm ready for the next change now. Yeah. We need to celebrate every choice, not just the good ones, right? You will always be battling between a good, healthy choice and a poorer choice. And sometimes we're going to make the poorer choice. I'm going to teach you to celebrate that choice too, because there's real learning in that beautiful choice, that vulnerable choice. Okay. So when we choose the cake and it should have been a salad, I'm going to say, hey, how was the cake? Was it nice? Would you have it again? Would you recommend it? Yeah. What did you learn by having it? And that's when real wisdom grows. Everything is spun into a positive and beautiful learning experience. So no more guilt. Celebrate all choices. Positivity, reframing every negative, and focusing not on the scale. We ask you to stay off the scale, right? Because you can't embed new behaviors when you're obsessing over the scale every day, right? You let that go. And we focus on embedding these behaviors 1 week at a time over the course of 13 weeks, not weighing. So I will ask you to stay off the scale if you go on to do this program with me. Secret number 2. Okay, take a sip, because this is a biggie. The 6 human hungers. Who knew there were 6 human hungers? Some of you have been through this with me before. Well done to those who are, and those of you who are like, oh, this is interesting, but yeah, I can see that, right? Thirst. First of all, we evolved to get most of our water through food. So we are thirsty, body goes look for food. Okay, so very often sweet things. And I know if I'm looking for sweet things in the evening, I'm like, first thing I do is I rub my fingers together. Oh yeah, I'm dry. I'm dehydrated. No wonder I'm looking for sweet things. Nice, easy tip for you there. That's thirst, right? Next one is low blood sugar hunger. So with the way we're eating at the moment, I hinted at it before, with all the refined carbs and sugars, is keeping us in that slump, and it's keeping us craving food so immediately. I need to eat now. Yeah. Lindsay's nodding. Anyone else? Yeah. Call it hangry. It's not a natural. I mean, it's a natural hunger, but it shouldn't happen when we're eating right. Yeah. It shouldn't happen when you're eating better. The way I'm coaching, hunger is more like, oh yeah, I'm starting to get hungry. Yeah, I think I probably need to prep a meal. Yeah, well, let me just finish this and then I'll think about prepping a meal. You've got time. When you're properly nutritional hunger, right? The next one, you've got time to make food. It's low blood sugar hunger that's the desperate one, okay? Nutritional hunger is all the body's requirements for all the right nutrients, all the right proteins, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fats, the whole range. We need them all. And I'm not going to say it's hard to get them all, but I will say that almost nobody that in the general public is getting all the nutrients, which is why there's so much talk about supplements. But there is a way of getting all your nutritional requirements through food. There might be just one. There might be just one that is still really hard to get, even when you're eating like me, and that's magnesium. All right, so magnesium is a great one. I don't recommend supplements. I'm not a nutritional therapist, but we have noticed that people do thrive when they're supplementing magnesium. But that's because the soils are depleted, right? So I'm not going to go into that. Right, the next one is empty stomach hunger. When you're properly nourished and you've got everything dealt with, and we've got a few more to talk about, having an empty stomach is not a requirement for food. But we've been programmed 3 meals a day, gotta have breakfast, gotta make sure you're eating regular slots. And there are some health programs that are coaching this stuff. Look at nature. Ask yourself, how did we evolve? Would hunter-gatherer have eaten every 4 hours? Hunter-gatherer would not have eaten every 4 hours. There would be times when there wasn't food around. When you're properly nourished, it's perfectly safe to have an empty stomach. It's not a signal that you have to go and fill it. And if you look at the science will tell you the body thrives on occasional fasting, right? Occasional, that's not starving yourself, right? Occasional break from food. The body goes into a cleansing process, okay? So it's empty stomach hunger is another vital one, not that we need to nourish, but that we need to be aware of. Right, next one, emotional hunger. Okay, and we're going to go into, so this is the comfort eating, the stress eating, the boredom eating. I'll skip variety because it's basically linked with nutritional, right? But let's go straight to the next one, which is emotional hunger. Oh, I just threw a little case study in there of lovely Wendy because her testimonial specifically talked about the different types of hunger, and she said that the different types of hunger and the natural food seasons have become so ingrained now that it's completely changed me. And Wendy released 33 pounds and is now free from hip pain, and also interestingly able to manage work stress better now that she's eating better. So I thought I'd put that one in there because she'd specifically talked about that. But let's talk about emotional hunger, emotional eating, and this is on your workbook, page 2. What's your go-to emotional food? Who wants to share? Right? No, remember, no guilt, no judgment, no shame. Let's be objective here. Mine was a glass of wine. Absolutely. Come home from work, glass of wine. Alison, chocolate. Yeah, chocolate is love, yeah? When we treat ourselves, we reward ourselves with chocolate because we've had a bad day or we want to be cheered up. Lindsay, crisps. What is it about crisps? Is it a treat? Do you want to come on the microphone and share what crisps mean to you?
I think crisps are like it's salt, it's fat, it's savory, and it's instant. There's no cooking, there's no preparation. It's like that instant endorphin hit or whatever.
Yeah. And it gives you that hit, that reward,
Yeah,
because you've sending your brain a signal of flavor and
yeah,
fat and salt and crunch and blood sugar. Yeah, it's a refined
yeah.
carb, blood sugar. So the body goes, oh, and the brain goes, more of that. Is it solving the emotional problem?
Not in the slightest.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to dig down rather than going, what's the matter with me for eating crisps? The reason you eat crisps is because it's programmed into the neural pathways. That's why. It's not a character defect. But what we do need to do is the analysis, and let's dig a little bit deeper. Thanks for sharing, Lindsay. Rosalba, cake, sweets. Erica, anything with high carbs. Yeah, typical stuff. Yeah, so it's not a character defect, my darlings. Whatever your emotional food is, it might be a takeaway, right? So we're stressed, we're tired, we want to celebrate. It's Friday. Takeaway, yeah. Okay, so just tune into that. What is the emotional state we're trying to change? So in the case of me with the wine, it was exhaustion. I wanted to relax, and I wanted to relax quickly. I didn't want to be doing a yoga meditation. I just wanted an instant of relaxation. Yeah. The chocolate. It's like, oh, I just want to feel something lovely and cozy and nice. I want something nice. Yeah. And it is nice. So how long does it make you feel nice for? How long does it give you that reward for? Nice. Lovely, yummy. Oh, it's gone. Now I need more because it hasn't fixed the problem, which was probably I need some self-care. Yeah, I need a nice hot bath. I need to cuddle up with the cat. I need, I just need need a hug, right? So it could be loneliness. And it can't always be, not always easy to fulfill that. So we need to look to other activities to meet those emotional needs. So we're not going to fix all the emotional problems overnight, but we certainly ain't going to fix them by relying on the food. But the beauty of the food, let me just skip forward. Yeah, so right, I'm going to skip back. Right, so the beauty of the food, the chocolate, the wine, the crisps, the positive lesson is that it's pointing a great big finger at an emotional problem that needs solving, an emotional need. So ask yourself, what are these crisps, this chocolate, this wine pointing to that needs some attention? Where do I need to invest in my self-care and my emotional nourishment and start finding some solutions? Okay. So those are the 6 human hungers. Variety is just, when you open the fridge, oh, I don't really want that. It's like, what do you want? Well, that's the body telling you we need a wide range of foods. But the downside of that is it can make us go to the snack foods, the junk foods, the different, spicy and all the different flavors. So watch out for that one. Right. So when we satisfy all the hungers in the right way, what happens is we become nutritionally complete and we stabilize our blood sugars and we keep the gut microbiome happy. We turn that gut microbiome into something that's craving foods and giving us low mood, into something that makes us feel amazing, brings on better mood and makes us crave the right foods. Okay, so it's all in the gut and the blood sugars. And there's a few other, we need to be nutritionally complete for those, all the physiological processes in the body to function well. What happens is these things go up: energy, focus, clarity, efficient sleep, mood, immunity. Yeah, immunity, protection from viruses and that kind of thing. And also the body's ability to heal from longer term chronic ailments. Okay, not just immunity, but the whole healing process improves. Fitness improves, muscle improves, skin improves, and your desire, your cravings for healthy food improves. What goes down? The afternoon slump disappears. The number of hours sleep, like I said, now I can thrive on 6 or 7. I like a nice 8 or 9 when I can get it, but I'm perfectly fine. And this is interesting. Before, if I ever had a sleepless night, sometimes it just happens, disturbances, whatever, you got a lot on your mind. If I'd had a sleepless night before, I would be useless and evil the next day. These days, sleepless night, I'm perfectly fine. I just get a little bit tireder in the afternoon and evening. Yeah, it's incredible how much it impacts on your sleep, your efficiency of your sleep. Right, inflammation. So anybody get tight wedding rings or tight shoes or ankles, or anything swollen, bags under the eyes, puffy features? Looking at my holiday snaps, I was always like that, and I thought it's because I'd gained weight. It wasn't that. It was inflammation. Inflammation, this is an anti-inflammatory. The natural human diet is anti-inflammatory. There is no such thing as an anti-inflammatory diet. It's just the natural human diet, okay? It's how we're meant to eat. Brain fog. All the symptoms of perimenopause can improve when we're eating better. I'm not saying you won't need HRT. I now take HRT as well, because even though I fixed the brain fog, the night sweats, that I fixed, there's loads of things I fixed through food, I didn't manage to fix the skin itching and the anxiety. So I did start taking the HRT. So I'm not saying it doesn't have its place, but I am saying food can sort out a lot of that first. Joint pain, stiffness, headaches, gut issues, body fat, obviously. Weight release is a natural side effect, and I'm not going to harp on about it, but on my program, the average weight release is 22 pounds. Okay, so it's a natural side effect without trying. And of course, your risk of chronic disease. Of course, we know this. Right, secret 3, I need to speed up. Sip. Right, this is something I'd be really interested to hear if you've heard of this before. But have a think now back to how we would have evolved. We're hunting, we're gathering, Some more masculine types have gone off hunting, and maybe the more feminine types are staying back, and they're the ones gathering and looking for the fruit and the, maybe, that kind of thing, right? Autumn, right? Autumn harvest, right? So we've been growing root veg. We know where to find root veg. We know where to find the tropical fruit when it's ripe, right? Autumn, right? Sweetness, carbs. What happens physiologically when we eat sweet foods and carbs is what caused the human species to survive, to store fat. Okay, so sweetness and carbs, insulin, store fat. So we stored fat for a harsh winter to get us through a harsh winter. Okay, so that's how survival of the fittest, those of us who are predisposed to gain fat on our bodies when we eat this way, we're the survivors. Yes. Unfortunately, in this modern world, food is so abundant that there's too much of that, and we never actually get a harsh winter where there's no food at all. So those of us that would have survived the harsh winter would have then emerged into spring, wonderful spring with the rain and the green stuff growing, and there wouldn't have been any root veg or fruit anymore. It's new season, new veg, green veg, and some proteins. Yeah, some natural, meat, fish, eggs, those kinds of things. So spring food looks very different from autumn food. Makes sense? Makes sense. The human body evolved to function on two different types of fuel. Glucose and carbs in the autumn, and in the spring, fat. We would have been using fat for energy and vitality in the spring. And when we eat in a spring-like way, so this is one of the seasons that we teach you to understand and thrive in, is eating in a spring-like way, which gives you amazing energy, and weight release is a side effect. It also is really, really good for brain function, because spring needed us to really thrive. Yeah, let's go, let's feel light and bouncy and go and build our communities and procreate. Okay, but the problem we got is, in this new world, we are living our lives not just in autumn with a gain in fat. We're living our lives in a perpetual dirty autumn, which isn't serving us at all. So we need to learn how to turn autumn into a clean autumn and celebrate with all those lovely, beautiful, sweet things. But we also need to learn how to do spring, which is energy and weight release. And it doesn't matter. For anybody that's wondering, oh no, it's ages till autumn, or don't worry, doesn't matter what month it is, right? We learn to do these 4 seasons whenever we want. So conscious gastronomy. Okay, so when we do spring, yeah, it's a little bit, it's a little bit more restrictive than the other seasons. But when you learn how to do these seasons, how to have a lovely autumn, you can introduce any food you want, right? Because when you've learned how good it feels when you're eating really, really well, you can then introduce foods that you think, well, this doesn't really serve me, like that lovely chocolate tart on Sunday afternoon, right? Anybody who was there, beautiful, I tasted it, it was worth it, I ate it, right? Conscious gastronomy. You can do that, but it's not conscious gastronomy while it's still emotional, compulsive, habitual, right? So conscious gastronomy is when we come through the program, what's there for us out the other side. Lovely Angela. Who knows Angela? She's been through this program. She's just such an absolute inspiration. She'd already released some weight when she came to join the program, but she wanted something that would make it much more focused on health rather than constantly dieting. And she knew that she needed to turn her weight release into something that was sustainable by learning to eat in a way that completely supports the body, but also allows some conscious gastronomy, right? So Angela, beautiful, and one of my keenest advocates. So the third secret I said was the seasons. Okay, we're just going to go back to the mind shift, which is point 1. So the program that I coach, the method, it's kind of like the mind shift 90. All that means is there's this focus on mind shift, shifting your food mindset. And the 90 is because it's a 90-day program. Okay, health transformation, because all the symptoms that we've talked about improve. Everybody's different, depends on what your symptoms are. But that conscious gastronomy is your food freedom. Does that make sense? So for want of a better name for the program. But the way the program works is this. we get properly nourished first and foremost, so that we're not hungry, so that we overcome the cravings, so that we're not feeling desperate. And that means emotionally nourished too. So we're going to talk about self-care, all the self-care needs, the emotional needs. There's a big part of this. Positive psychology, always positive spin. And things like NLP, what we say when we talk to ourselves, that kind of stuff. I've mentioned the one doable step at a time. So, so important. Because if I put you on step 6 straight away, you'd think, oh, sod this, right? But you go step 1 and you succeed. You're ready for step 2. Yeah, step 2. This is easy too. I'm doing great. Step 3. Oh, a little bit challenging, but I think I can do it. And then do you see what I mean? It's got to be in the right order. And then you feel great with every positive change you make. Okay. We never ever want you to go hungry. So there's only one rule. Everything else I coach is a principle that can be flexed. One rule: don't go hungry, because hunger leads to grabbing convenience foods. We're going to create a new kind of convenience, right? So if anybody's worried about, oh, but healthy eating is so hard, I'm going to coach you a new kind of convenience where you open the fridge and you go, oh, great, cooked chicken, coleslaw, something I can reheat. Thank you, because I've only got 20 minutes or 10. Sometimes I got 5 and I'm like, yeah, some chicken, great. Straight on with my call. So it's creating a new convenience, rather than it being very onerous. Real food, not powder, not rabbit food, real foods like bologneses and curries and casseroles and salads and soups and roasts and normal food that the whole family will enjoy. Those of you thinking, how are we going to do this with a family? You don't eat one thing for you and the rest for them. No, we're going to put food on the table where we're sharing something. And then there's a few little individual bits that people like as well, right? So this new way of doing family meals. That's okay, Drew. Thank you, lovely. And like I said, the food freedom lifestyle. So no relying on willpower, rooted in neuroscience and positive psychology, tackling the root causes, and this individual personalized approach, because I coach in groups like this one, group cohort, got one coming up on the 10th of February. And this is I think this was a couple of years ago, where everybody was asked to bring their top win to the final check-in. And so they've all showing a card with their top win. So I look and feel slimmer, can fit into so many more of my clothes, just shy of 1.5 stones. Superfood awareness, released 10 pounds, reduced pain and inflammation. This lady here, Kate, came to me, said, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and found complete relief on the program. And she was able to bring it back as well when she ate when she eats the wrong things. Lovely couple. Paul released 24 pounds. It goes on and on. So I just wanted to show you a typical cohort. The lovely Lucy, there she is. She was already very slender. Sometimes people join this program who are already very slender, but she was happy to release 9%, 14 pounds. She felt much more comfortable in her lovely clothes. But for Lucy, it was the freedom from emotional eating, compulsive eating, and she's now her and Angela, some of my keenest fans. Nails are stronger. She tells everybody our nails are stronger. When your nails are stronger, you've tapped into good health, right? You just know. It makes sense. Ollie was somebody that came to me with a lot of joint pain. When perimenopause hit, it really took its toll on Ollie. And again, the freedom, the energy, the improvement of sleep, but the healthier relationship with food. But she says the overall sense of well-being I have and the optimism that I have for the future, that's what I really love about Ollie's testimonial, optimism for the future. I know we've run out of time, so I'm just going to bash through. Got a few more lovely pictures to show you. Barbara, 40 pounds, feeling sexy and 70. Yeah, feeling sexy again at 70. I love that. Oh, and interestingly, Barbara said she was already eating the Mediterranean diet and already cooking from scratch and already thought she was eating healthy, but she released 40 pounds and is free from aches and pains. So who knew that health food is not always what it's cut out to be? Donna, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, COPD, brain fog, couldn't get out of bed some days. And now she's going to India and doing foraging and is a really successful life coach. And she's just picked. And this picture really moves me because when Donna came on the discovery call with me, she said to me, she was crying because she says, I need photos taken for social media. But she said, I don't want to expose anyone to that. I don't want to subject anyone to that. And we cried together. I just thought, my darling, let me help you, you know. And so now look at this picture of her. She's basically, this was from a kind of calendar girls style photo shoot. The confidence is just so heartwarming. Yeah, if you need to go, please feel free. And I'm just gonna bash through Justine. Geraint overcame type 2 diabetes and is off the meds and is off the high blood pressure meds as well. I do coach men. And finally, my darlings, I just wanted to make you this offer. If anybody is inspired by anything they've heard today, feel free to reach out for a chat. We can talk it through. Absolutely no pressure at all. This isn't meant to be a sales call, but for those who are interested in exploring this further, we've got a health transformation cohort starting on the 10th of Feb. So you will complete before spring is over. Okay, so it's Feb, yeah, end of May, right? So jump on a call with me and let's chat it through. Absolutely no pressure at all. And it's just for you to see if the program's a good fit for you. And it's for me to see if I think you're a good fit for the program as well. You know, if I don't think this program is right for you for whatever reason, I will say so. You don't have to qualify as such, but let's just make sure it's right. Okay, so jump on a call with me. I'll put the I'll put the link in the meeting chat as well. Let me do that here. Right, that's a link in the meeting chat if you wanted to just go ahead and book that call with me. I think I've got like 3 slots left this week, but I've got more slots next week. And if we need to, I will open up some slots at the weekend as well. So to make sure you get your call in. And as a thank you to you for your attention and kindness in staying to the end of the program, I would love to offer for the first 3 people from this masterclass that join the program, I will give you the gift of some extra VIP coaching sessions, only for people who registered for this masterclass. So that is everything, and I would stop sharing now and open it up for questions. Let's just see who learned something new today. Yay, amazing. Who's feeling like inspired and positive, hopeful for the future? Yes, that's what we want. Any questions about anything I've said so far? Any questions about anything to do with the program? In which case, I will let you all go back to your day. Thank you for your presence and your lovely attention. It's been so lovely to see you all. Those that I didn't see because you got your cameras off, lots of love to you too. I'm here for whatever it is you need. So have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye, everybody. Lots of love.
Bye, Sue. Thank you.